Today I want us to think about a personal strategic SWOT. Now, a SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, and is normally something that we would do at a business level, but it's a great tool to use at a personal level. So what we want this to do is to actually, come up with a neat summary of you and your personal strengths, personal weaknesses. What are some of the opportunities that are going to present themselves to you in your personal life, and some threats? So let's just work through it really quickly. So typically in planning, we talk about where are we now, where do we need to be, how we're going to get there. And for me, the strategic SWOT tool, which we're just going to get you to do part of it to start with, is the bridge that drops between now and where and how. Now, it's really important that you have a think about where you want to be. Yeah, so we want you to think about where you want to be personally. So that can be a personal brand statement. It can be setting some personal goals. It can be a whole heap of different things, working on your life balance, a whole heap of other stuff. But it's important that you set the where because the where then gives you context for your strengths and weaknesses. So what you think about is, if that's where I want to go, then what are the personal strengths that I have? What are the personal weaknesses? What are the things I need to work on? What are the opportunities that present themselves? And what are the threats? What are the things that are going to get in the way? So really important that you've done the where exercise first and at least thought about where you want to be personally. So as I said, it's then just a matter of brainstorming your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Now, strategic SWOT is about coming up with the strategic things. So normally if I ask people to do a SWOT analysis, they'll come up with about 10 strengths. They'll come up with about 40 weaknesses because we're Australian and we like to beat ourselves up. We'll come up with opportunities that we can't possibly take advantage of, and threats like alien abduction that aren't real for us at the moment. And maybe they are, I don't know, for you. But what I'm talking about is we often come up with things that aren't real. So what I want you to think about is, in the context of where you would like to be personally, what are the 5 strengths that you are real strengths, real personal strengths of yours? What are the 5 weaknesses of yours? Now, you can have 7, but if you start to get more than 7, you can have less than 5 too. But if you start to get more than sort of 7 strengths or weaknesses, I think you're not being strategic enough. You're starting to get general in your thinking, all right? So we don't want to come up with a big wish list of things. We don't want strengths like you can do the butterfly stroke or whatever. You want the real strengths. What are your real strengths? What are your real weaknesses? And then when you think about opportunities and threats, I want you to think about the things that will give rise to opportunities for you. So what are the things that will give rise to opportunities for you? What are the things that will, and maybe what some of those opportunities are, but also what are the things that will get in the way, that could potentially get in the way? What are things that could be threats to you? Now, in life, we often don't have too many threats, right? But we normally have lots of opportunities, so I want you to just take the time to think about them, but be really strategic. Think about opportunities that you can really engage with, threats that are real, that are really going to stop you from doing something, and just come up with a brief summary of it. Now, we've given you a Google Doc for most of this, so you'll be able to just quickly plug these things into the Google Doc, and then once we've done that, then we're going to work through how we then leverage our strengths, overcome our weaknesses, take advantage of the opportunities, and limit our threats. Okay? So we'll work through some actions to do that together, but today I just want you to work through strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And if you don't have time to do opportunities and threats, I really just want you to focus on your strengths and your weaknesses, the other stuff we can work on together. Okay? So the next step, just take some time, grab a beverage of choice, just sit back and relax and think about it. This is probably one of the hardest things to do, is to focus on yourself and be objective about what are your real strengths, what are your real weaknesses. A great thing to do is to ask your spouse or partner what they think of the ones that you come up with, because they'll often have a far more objective view of you and will probably in my experience, come up with some real strengths and some real weaknesses and some great opportunities and potential threats for you that you may not have thought for. Of course, if you have any questions, please just give me a call, send me a text or an email, and I'm really happy to help you out. Okay? I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.